Hello everybody and welcome to Tutorial Land. We're going to be taking a step back from Didsville today and doing a bit of a tutorial series about what you can do to get started on your city Skylines cities. Now, we are going to be starting this through the Xbox One edition with no mods, no tricks, no gimmicks, no nothing. I want to preserve Didsville as best as possible and have no chance that anything goes wrong. And therefore, we're going to be doing this tutorial land. So to start off, you're going to need to build a road. Any road will do. They just, for some reason, need to say, hey, this guy's built a road. And they suggest building one, right off the interstate. But you have to remember, this is a highway, so you don't necessarily want to connect it, because then you're going to have some really weird things happening. Now, I want to make this point right here with the roundabout. It's a good way to start your cities, but it's kind of going to be something that you're going to have to watch, because the way the game works is they will spawn, your vehicles will spawn, and when they spawn, they have a certain path. If they don't have the right lane for that path, it will not work. So if you pay attention to any roundabout in your games, you will notice that they will never use the inside lane of a roundabout unless that lane is specifically designed to end up somewhere. So just keep that in mind. So to start your city, you're going to need your water. Now, your pumping stations have to be upstream from your dumping stations. So if you look carefully at the arrows that the game provides for you, you're going to have to think about, well, where are my arrows going? You have to specifically design it so that your fresh water is upstream from your dirty water. Otherwise, your dirty water will contaminate your citizens with bad dirty water. So basically, the first couple moments, I suggest you do paused. Otherwise, you're going to have all of this income be lost right away before you even get started, because of the fact that things have upkeep. So you're going to want to make sure that you don't let that upkeep take all of your money away. So I like to pause it, spend all the money, get as much done as I can. 3 windmills is a good, clean way to start your city. It gives enough power without taking all of the money for the coal power plant, and then you can really start to get some residential zonings. Now, after you get these residential zones, I suggest, well, before any of that, I suggest boosting your taxes to about 12%. 13, they start to get angry. 12, they are totally okay with. So boost as much income early on as you can, and early on, you're gonna really just, as much as I don't typically suggest cramping in the commercial with the residential, with the industrial, at first, to get that income, you're going to need that tax money. So you're going to kind of need to build things condensed. And normally, quite honestly, I would do a little bit even more condensed than this. I'm not really happy with how far I took the interstate to this roundabout, but it'll work out in the end. And normally I wouldn't put windmills that close to residential, but that was the point where I could get the most out of the windmills, and it just, it still works. It puts power close to the city itself so that I don't have to spend so much more money on power lines. And you'll notice that for a while here, I'm gonna be in the negative, but that's okay. These buildings that have water issues right now, they might abandon, they might do whatever, but for now, I'm still getting that tax income. And you'll start to see the negative kind of get closer and closer and closer to zero the higher the population gets. So you want to make sure that you have enough road space such that you can build enough residential and get enough zonage that your RCI, or your residential, commercial, and industrial demand stays low, which you can see in the lower right corner. It's pretty low right now, and we're at a pretty good point. And I'm starting to notice that it's starting to get closer to zero. So after a while, you get this first milestone. So with each milestone comes more unlockables. Now, everyone's different, everyone provides a little bit more, but they all give you money. So now you can use this money to fix up any loose ends, tie anything up that you need fixed, and start to expand your city a little bit. You need a hospital, you need an education, an elementary school, because as soon as they get unlocked, they will start to need those things. So now everybody's like, now I need an elementary school education. Ooh, now I'm gonna start getting sick. So you do have to pay attention to those things. But with that comes your first loan. So if you spend, most likely you will spend whatever money that milestone gives you on either the elementary school or the hospital. Chances are, I think garbage as well. So chances are you're not going to be getting all of this. So see, you're starting to see things, people getting sick, garbage being needed to get collected, and things like that. So your early money is going to be spent on making sure that you can get all of those needs taken care of, because your citizens will now start needing them. So it's just something you have to pay attention to, and that good stuff. But by the time that happens, your demand should be starting to rise while you're focusing on getting to your elementary school, your hospital, and your garbage taken care of. So now you can kind of start to separate your city because you don't want garbage in residential. And you kind of see how I'm separating it using commercial as kind of the in-between so that your industrial feeds your commercial. None of that industrial production gets into the residential traffic, and it starts to work there. So your next milestone is going to be more, you know, your police, your fire. You get another loan, and you start to get some of these, you know, structures that you have. So you might start to notice that your traffic is starting to build up a little bit. As you can see, as I mentioned before, that inside lane of the roundabout is not being used, so I will eventually decrease that to just a single lane traffic. Hopefully without parking. I'm not really much a fan of the parking on the side of a roundabout, but that's just kind of how the game functions with the given task at hand. So I started away for a little bit of money there, so I didn't have to take out that second loan to get some of this stuff. It does take away income to take that loan, and if your income is pretty decent, eventually once you tie up these loose ends, you're going to be making enough money that you're gonna kind of be building as the money gets made anyway. So you can start to see that there's going to be policies, there's going to be taxes, more city planning options available to you as this game progresses. And it's really just something that you're going to have to look out for. There's a whole bunch of different menus to see your city's happiness and really what your city needs, where your city needs what. You can see land value and how things affect the land value, and you start to get new and larger zones that you can purchase. Not necessarily larger zones, but you get the ability to expand your city. So a lot of this is just stuff that as you build, you're going to have to see what fits best for your city and where you can put what in. As you build your city, you can start to say, well, this might be a good intro zone, and you know, you're starting to see the power go. So with the power, the reason that you saw the dumping stations, and I checked up on that, is because the power was decreased to the point where the dumping station didn't have enough power to run, and therefore it caused all those issues. So now you start to get parks, which is kind of the best thing that I would suggest you can use for power connection. So if you build things kind of across the highway from one another and you don't want power lines, or you're just not touching two parts of a city together, or you zone a large area and it's not really connecting very well, you can use parks to connect that, because I feel like parks give a pretty good generalization as to connecting and having enough power area around it that you can kind of start to connect two pieces. And with the land value increase that it will also provide, you might get lucky and there might be some zones that pop up around it, so it might just start to function a little bit better in terms of that. But as you see right now, with just such a simple city, just doing absolutely everything that I can to keep the RCI demand high and keeping everybody happy and doing basically everything as it gets unlocked, you're starting to see that the city is getting very profitable and will be very great to move forward. So I hope that this is helpful. I'm going to be doing this series as we advance this city. I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.